My name is Clara Whitmore, and I was 29 the year I learned that a worn leather Bible could hold more power than any courtroom. Grandma Evelyn turned 82 on a rainy Thursday in late April. She had asked for her famous lemon pound cake with the glaze that ran down the sides like warm sunshine. I drove 2.5 hours from Springfield with a grocery bag full of fresh lemons and her favorite yellow tablecloth. When I pulled up to the old white farmhouse on Maple Ridge Road, the porch swing was empty. The lights were off. A bright blue Maple Grove Nursing and Rehab brochure was stuck to the front door with tape. My uncle had moved her out at dawn while I was still on the highway. Welcome back to Calm Drama Stories, where ordinary people set quiet boundaries that change everything, and dignity always gets the last word. If stories about protecting the ones who protected you hit close to home, drop a comment and subscribe. That morning still sits heavy in my chest. I'd left work early the day before, trading my paralegal desk for the familiar scent of lemon zest and old wood floors. Grandma had raised me more than my own parents after they moved to Florida for better weather and lower taxes. She taught me how to read a deed at her kitchen table, how to spot when someone was trying to take what wasn't theirs. The farmhouse had been in our family for 4 generations. The place where she and Grandpa planted the apple orchard, where I learned to ride a bike down the long gravel drive, where she still hung laundry on the line even when her hands shook. I found her at Maple Grove that afternoon, sitting in a small room that smelled of antiseptic and regret. She wore the lavender cardigan I'd given her last Christmas. Her eyes lit up when she saw me, then clouded again. "Clara, they said it was just for a few days," she whispered. "Harold said the house was getting too much for me." Uncle Harold, my father's older brother, the one who owned the car dealership in town, the one who always talked about streamlining assets and modern solutions. His wife, Aunt Sharon, stood behind him in every family photo with the same tight smile. I sat on the edge of her bed and held her hand. It felt smaller than I remembered. "I'm getting you home, Grandma." She smiled faintly and reached under her pillow. Her fingers closed around a small brass key on a faded red ribbon. She pressed it into my palm along with her old leather Bible, the one with the cracked spine and her handwritten notes in the margins. "Page 214, she said, voice low. "Don't let them see. Not yet." That evening's stays pressed into me. I drove back to the farmhouse under a gray sky. The place already felt violated, drawers slightly out of place, mail stacked differently. In the kitchen, I found a purchase agreement draft on the table, unsigned, but filled out. Buyer, Horizon Property Group, cash offer, closing scheduled in 18 days. Seller's representative listed as Harold Whitmore. My stomach turned. I opened the Bible to page 214, Psalms. Tucked between the thin pages was a sealed envelope and another key. Inside the envelope, a handwritten note in Grandma's careful script. "Clara, if they try to sell the house, this is what you need." I saw it coming. "I love you. The farmhouse belongs to the ones who remember." Clipped to the note were documents. A revocable living trust executed 16 months earlier. The farmhouse, the orchard, the 10 acres, all transferred into the Evelyn M. Whitmore Revocable Living Trust. I was named successor trustee, a durable power of attorney naming me as agent. A neurologist's capacity letter confirming she understood everything when she signed. And a second note. "They think I'm already gone. I'm not gone yet." I sat on the worn oak floor of the kitchen, the same floor Grandpa had laid in 1963, and cried quiet, angry tears. Then I started reading every line. The next morning, I drove to see Ruth Adler again, the elder law attorney Grandma had chosen. The same firm from the last time family tried something years ago. Ruth's expression stayed calm as she reviewed the papers. She prepared well, Ruth said. The trust was recorded properly. Your uncle's power of attorney, if he even has one, is likely invalid given her recent decline. The sale cannot close if you stand in their way. I learned the rest in pieces. Uncle Harold had convinced the family that Grandma needed professional care. My parents, from their sunny Florida condo, had agreed over a quick phone call. "It's for the best, honey," Mom texted. "The house will help Harold expand the dealership." Family helps family. They had already listed the farmhouse quietly through a contact of Harold's. Off-market, priced $85,000 under recent comps in the area. The buyer was a developer who planned to tear it down for subdivisions. I stayed at the farmhouse that night, sleeping in the room that still had my childhood drawings taped inside the closet. Around 2 a.m., I found more. A lockbox hidden in the root cellar, a folder of tax records, and copies of everything. Grandma had been planning this longer than any of us knew. The countdown began. 18 days until their scheduled closing. I visited Grandma daily. Some days she knew exactly who I was. Others, she called me by my mother's name. But she always asked about the key. "Did you find the papers?" she'd whisper. "The farmhouse remembers everything." On day 4, Harold showed up at the nursing home while I was there. He carried flowers and that salesman's smile. "Clara, good to see you. We're all doing what's best for Mom." I showed him the trust documents on my phone. His smile faltered for half a second. "That's old paperwork. We have a more recent arrangement." "Does it involve forging signatures while she was disoriented?" I asked quietly. He left without answering. I filed a report with Adult Protective Services. Ruth sent a formal letter to the title company. I gathered medical records showing the exact week Harold claimed Grandma had granted him authority. The same week she'd had a mild stroke and couldn't remember her own address for 2 days. The farmhouse waited. I watered the apple trees. I baked lemon pound cake in her kitchen and brought slices to her at Maple Grove. We ate them with plastic forks while she told me stories about dancing with Grandpa in the living room after the war. 1 week before closing, Aunt Sharon cornered me in the nursing home hallway. "You're being selfish," she hissed. "Harold needs this. The dealership is struggling. Your grandmother won't even remember the place soon." "She remembers enough," I said. "And so do I." Closing day arrived, a crisp Tuesday morning at Ridge Title Services. I walked in with Ruth, carrying Grandma's Bible and the thick folder. Harold, Sharon, my parents on speakerphone, the buyer's rep, and the listing agent were already seated around the table. Harold looked confident until he saw me. "What is this?" he demanded. Ruth placed the recorded trust deed on the table first, then the power of attorney, then the neurologist's letters, old and new. "The property is held in the Evelyn M. Whitmore Revocable Living Trust," Ruth said calmly. "Clara Whitmore is the successor trustee. Any attempt to sell without her authorization is invalid. The documents your client relied on were executed without capacity." The title officer reviewed everything carefully. The room grew painfully quiet. "I cannot ensure clear title on this," she finally said. "This transaction is terminated." Harold exploded. My mother's voice crackled over the speaker, frantic. Sharon cried performative tears. The buyer's rep gathered his things and left without a word. I looked at my uncle. "You put her in that place without telling anyone. You tried to sell the only home she's ever known. She saw you coming years ago." Harold had no answer. In the weeks that followed, APS substantiated the financial exploitation concerns. The court voided Harold's documents and confirmed my role as guardian and trustee. Harold's dealership faced its own financial troubles without the farmhouse cash infusion. My parents stopped calling for a while. I brought Grandma home in May. The farmhouse smelled like lemon cake again. The apple trees bloomed. She sat on the porch swing with her Bible in her lap, and the brass key on its red ribbon around her neck. One afternoon, she handed me the Bible again. "Page 214, she said, eyes clear for a moment. "There's one more thing." Tucked in the same spot was a new note, written recently in shaky but determined handwriting. "Thank you for remembering when I couldn't. The farmhouse is yours to keep safe now. I'm not gone yet." We ate lemon pound cake at the old kitchen table that evening. No special occasion, just because it was Tuesday and we were home. A person's memories may fade, but the love that built a home doesn't. And sometimes the quietest family member is the one holding the key all along. That's my story. One hidden key, one faithful Bible, and a grandmother who planned ahead when no one else did. If this reminded you to check on your loved one's wishes, do it today. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.